In the first part, I want to talk about one's progression towards dunking and the measurements involved. And in the second part, I want to discuss maybe the strategic implications of dunking or being able to dunk. So, dunking is going to be a lot about jumping. And at a basketball court, if you're playing with a regulation court, then there'll be three main landmarks that you'll be able to hit to be able to jump. So the first one will be the bottom of the net. Bottom of the net is 2,600 millimeters above the ground, or 8 feet 6 inches, and most people should be able to touch that with a simple hop. And the next one is the bottom of the backboard, which is 2,900 millimeters, or 9 feet and 6 inches. And this is starting to get out of people's reach. And of course, the last thing is the ring, which is 50 millimeters, or 10 feet. And if you want to be able to dunk, I think you'll need to clear this by probably a hand's length or another half a feet. So you really realistically need to reach 10.5 feet to be able to dunk. Now let's calculate how high you have to jump to be able to dunk. So for example, my height is 178 centimeters, or I'm 5'10", and I can reach 223 centimeters, or 7'4". So if you don't have something handy to measure that right now, you can just measure the height from your tip of your hand to your elbow, and add it to your height, and that'll be an easy way to get your reaching height. And so at 7'4", for me to touch 10'6", I'll need to jump 3 feet, or a little bit more than 3 feet. And that's going to be quite challenging. And the statistics for people jumping, I mean, if you can jump 4 feet, you're like probably one of the top people in the world at jumping. So there was a guy, 50 and 60-inch verticals. That's what they kind of correspond to 4 feet and higher, and they're famous for their jumping. So an average person, a male person, could jump somewhere between 1 feet 4 inches and 8 inches. Possibly an average basketball player could jump 2 feet or more. So most people can jump somewhere between 2 and 4 feet that play basketball, and you'll need to jump around 3 feet to be able to dunk it. So I want to spend the rest of this talking about dunking as a tool for winning. So often people think that dunking is a sure basket, and it's really great. But I think dunking is not so simple as that, because especially if you're on the borderline of being able to dunk, you have to make the judgment whether you're going to be able to dunk that ball before you take off. And sometimes you get rejected by the ring, or something bad happens, and dunking isn't necessarily even as good a percentage as a normal off the backboard layup. But if you can reliably dunk and you have great technique, and it does become a sure thing, but it's really only useful when your defender's out of position, or there's no defender at all. And or when your defender is unable to get high enough, especially maybe coming off a help defense situation, to be able to block your shot. But when you and the person defending you can both dunk or reach a dunking height, then it may even be better to bank the ball off the backboard than to go for a dunk, because the goaltending rule says that when the ball touches the backboard, the defensive player is not allowed to touch it anymore. So it might be easier to get the ball off the backboard than to go straight for the dunk, where the goaltending rule doesn't apply. So the defender, if he's smart, can time it so that he'll be at the ring when you're at the ring, because he knows that for you to get the ball in the hoop, it has to go through the ring, and he can just wait for you there. So as unspectacular as it sounds, it might be just useful to learn how to get to a dunking height, just to prevent your opponent from dunking when you're playing defense on him.